Tina Traster of the Rockland County Business Journal on the line. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Steve. How are you today?
We're doing all right, thank you.
Good.
Chilly in here, but other than that, it's all right.
I think this is the last cold day.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I think she's jonesing to be our new weather forecaster now.
Oh, cool. I need an extra job.
I'll take anybody right now, believe me.
Because I don't have enough to do in 24 hours a day.
It's just predicting the weather. How hard could it be?
Exactly. Well, that's probably true. It's like predicting anything else. Everything's unpredictable.
So what about what's in I was going to say the pages, but they're not pages.
Posted, so we know that New York State has banned plastic bags, and this makes it unnecessary, essentially, for Rockland County to pass its own law, which we were talking about last week. But the interesting thing that is still up for debate is the counties will have the opportunity to either opt in on the 5-cent tax or opt out on the 5-cent tax. And the way the 5-cent tax works on paper bags, and the way that works is 3 cents of the 5 cents will go to the state's Environmental Protection Fund, and 2 cents will go to local governments. So, whereas Ed Day, I suppose, might have been feeling the pressure or not to pass the plastic bag ban, that he's been relieved of that, and now he's got a more, acute thing, which is this tax to ponder. So that's freshly published this morning, and I know Jeff had very strong feelings about the plastic ban.
I have nothing against the idea of using fewer plastic bags. I think we should. There's a lot of things we should be using less of when it comes to the environment. I'm in wholehearted agreement with that. I don't like the approach that the supermarkets and other establishments are being forced to not use them. Or to not distribute them or charge for them, and then it's just another backdoor way to get a tax into the government. I don't like that approach. I'm not a fan of that. I carry the canvas bags in my car, and I use them when I remember them. Sometimes I go into the store and I need a plastic bag. If there's something I'm coming out with that's wet, like a chicken, or sometimes it leaks, I don't want to put that in my canvas bags. It'll ruin the canvas bags. So sometimes, yeah, I do need the plastic bags for some things, and I reuse them or I recycle them. It's not as if I'm throwing them over the nearest baby duck I can find and strangling it to death. I'm not trying to do that. I think the supermarkets and the government should educate us better about why to. Supermarkets can voluntarily do this. If they find a way to make it work for them, as ShopRite did for me many years ago. They taught me the benefit of using the canvas bag over using the plastic bag.
Well, what do you think about? I don't know if you see a parallel here or not, but because I know that your objection is you feel like it's too nanny state, right?
Right.
So, what do you feel about the ban from people in public places, or the measles ban? Do you see a parallel there? Or
I know I kind of do see a parallel there. However, I do kind of see that there's the parallel in that yes, you could argue both are public health issues. However, I think the measles ban is much more directly a very direct public health issue than plastic bags in a landfill is a direct health issue. So I think the measles ban, is part of what government is supposed to be doing. I think the plastic bag ban is something that the market itself should be able to handle.
Interesting.
Because it's not as if the measles is a market, or at least it shouldn't be a market. There's not a capitalist association with that. Some might argue that there is, in fact, and that people are trying to prop up the pharma companies. Okay, I understand that argument, but I think there's more of a direct correlation between people's health with the measles outbreak and the banning of them from public places during a state of emergency than there is in telling ShopRite or Stop and Shop that they're not allowed to use plastic bags for us, and if we want to use them, we have to pay extra for them. I don't like that.
So if you think about this, if you scale this up and you think about the Clean Water Act and the Clean Air Act and all of the manufacturers along the way, who needed to reconfigure how they manufacture things to make the environment cleaner, isn't it really the same thing?
No, because now you're taking on to the consumers and you're passing it along to consumers with the plastic bag ban.
Well, no, but not necessarily, because the tax, there's a carve out. It's optional for any municipality. So we can have a plastic bag ban without feeling a single extra cent that we'd have to pay. You and me and every taxpayer. There would be no penalty to this specifically if Ed Day decides to.
Well, the penalty is that if I want a plastic bag, I now have to pay for it. Or a paper bag.
No, there won't be plastic bags. So there's no paying.
Well, I think I don't like that either. I still want to use plastic bags in some cases. I think they're helpful. I think they're fine. I do think we need to use them sparingly and less, but I think that's up to the onus should be on us to do that, not on the government to force me to go to a supermarket and not have a plastic bag available.
There are going to be exemptions in this.
Yeah, there are exemptions. There are.
Is this the only thing you've got in your publication now? Huh?
What did you say about
Is this the only thing you've got in your publication right now? Because
no, of course not. Let's talk about the Time Hotel. That was another interesting development last week. The bankruptcy judge, the bankruptcy court judge, approved the sale of the Time Hotel to this group called Juniper. They're out in Arizona, and they're a big real estate investment company that's looking to go big on hospitality, and they're looking for properties. The thing that I think a lot of people want to know is, are they going to effectively just come in and, replace the original investors and continue to have BV's Grill and the management group, which is called the Dream Group, in place? Or are they likely to put their own people in place, or perhaps even sell the hotel to a big recognizable chain? What I can tell you from inside sourcing is that we know that, well, not from inside sourcing, but in the courtroom last Monday, we know that the original group of investors tried to come in with a bid that was higher than the $18.5 million that this group is paying for the hotel, and the judge struck them down, saying and citing that, one, the Time Hotel was essentially running out of money, and that would be out of money shortly, and they needed this transition. And two, saying that the original group of investors, even though they got a higher amount to offer, the judge also said, no, these investors didn't have hotel experience. So what we know for now is there seems to be at least some short-term commitment to keep BV's Grill running and the management group in place. But I think we're going to have to watch this story because, again, if we're making predictions, I'm not sure that there's not going to be change coming down the pike on this property in one way or another. So, that's kind of interesting. The Time Hotel has we've talked about this, but it does have a kind of unique place in the county. It really effectively is the only boutique hotel, and it'll just be interesting to see what these outsiders do with the property.
How long has it been open?
2 to 3 years, not very long. Mm-hmm. I think it was 2016, so coming on 3 years, not very long. Not long at all. So it's going to be, I think people are concerned about BV's Grill. They, for example, they employ 57 people.
I don't think anybody's concerned about it because I don't know of anybody who's ever gone there.
Nobody?
And not that I know of.
Oh,
not that they've told me. And probably that's part of its problem. I don't know anyone who's gone. I've been to the place once or twice for RBA events and things like that, but that's about it. I've not gone there to spend a weekend. I've not gone there to eat at the restaurant that's there. I don't know anybody who has. Doesn't mean they haven't, but I just haven't heard of it as that big of an issue. I'm surprised that they're even trying to keep this thing going if it's that poorly done.
Well, that's what I think. We're watching. We're waiting to see whether the place can be sustained as a boutique hotel. Whether improvements can be made to really justify calling it a boutique hotel, or whether it's more likely to become a flagship, flag hotel, and just end up being one other hotel on the side of the road. So I think that if that is ultimately the what happens, I think it'll be a loss. I mean, Nyack made a big deal about this hotel.
Tell me about it. Years before they went on, they opened up, I mean, there was publicity all over the place. Remember, there was going to be a radio station in there. I still on where the hell that went. There was going to be this, that, and the third. And this preceded it a long time before it actually came to fruition.
Well, that's the thing is that when all of these promises are failed on, people remember. People remember what was promised. They remember the ribbon cuttings. They remember all of the the hype and the rhetoric. And then when one thing I remember was that the hotel was going to put on at least a shuttle so that people would get around and be able to get into Nyack, and it would stimulate commerce there. I don't know that ever happened. So it's kind of like, the bridge. I was crossing the bridge yesterday and thinking, is that biking path really going to be open this summer?
That's what they had initially said they were going to do.
And we reported that, too, because that's what they said. But
right.
I was driving over the bridge yesterday looking at, I guess, what is ongoing.
I was there, too. It seems like there's a lot of work still to be done.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
You can't even see the shape of what it would be, what that rendering looked like.
Yeah, I'm no construction expert. It seems like there's a lot still that needs to be done.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I can feel their pain when they make statements like that or promises. I mean, this radio station was supposed to be on the air years ago.
That's true, too. That's true. So, it's...
And yet we never get tired, whether it's us or anybody else, of trying to predict the future that we have no idea what's going to happen.
Right.
Well, I guess we're in the business of reporting the news, right? And people tell us things, and we need to... we need to report on them.
Right, reporting the news is talking about things that happened in the past, not trying to predict things that are going to take place in the future.
Well, that's, that's an interesting comment, because I think it's...
We could do a whole show on Communications 101 on that one.
Well, I mean, I think that, reporting, sometimes you want to get out ahead of what is happening. I mean, as opposed to reporting it, 3 weeks later when it's old news.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got Listen Up Rockland coming up very shortly. So why don't we tell people how to get access to all these things that we've been talking about and other things that we've not been able to get to.
All right. So it's RCBiz Journal, RCBIZJournal.com.
And it's available 24/7. It's not like you got to wait each week for it to be printed out.
That's right. Constantly putting up the news, constantly telling people things they don't know yet.
RCBiz, and that's B-I-Z, RCBizJournal.
RCBizJournal.com.
Hey, Tina, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next week.